JT, all I have to say, honey, is please put the phone down. Like, this is not good. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Cake Radio Show. I am the CakeDive, and I hope you guys are doing very well because today we have another hot topic to discuss. We will be talking about the drama that has been going on with JT. She has been in two public spats in the past week or so against Glorilla and two against her city girls mate Miss Carisha Please, Young Guy Miami, and Loki Santana. Let's just get into it. So basically, let's start with the Glorilla stuff of the Glorilla of it all first. So Glorilla, if you don't know who Glorilla is a rapper who's been on the come up. She most recently had one of her hit singles, Yeah Glow, and she released her new, I believe it's an album. The girls are saying it's an EP, but I thought it was an album. Everything. And prior to the release of this, there was rumors that were circulating online suggesting that JT and Glorilla allegedly were going back at it and like fought at like an award show. And this was never confirmed. I think it was given Pop Ting's source. Like, you know how Pop Tings be on Twitter being like, oh, in a recent source, like from our sources, we've heard that Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion have come together to like have talked and resolved their differences, or we heard from sources that Beyonce and Chloe are working together on a collab, and you looking around like maybe they just made that up. Like, Pop Tings be hilarious sometimes, but they be making stuff up sometimes. Like, whoa. But it was given Pop Tings source, like alleged, like it, because no one was able to verify if this actually happened, and JT nor Glorilla really said anything until the release of Everything, where on one of Glorilla's singles, I believe it was not singles, but one of the songs on the album, which was called I, she had a few verses on there. One verse on there was talking about her saying like, oh, like I wish the Bad Bees would come together, like Nicki and Cardi would really sell some records. And then there was another verse in which she kind of referenced, like right after that, in which she referenced the alleged rumors against her and JT, which she said, oh, like JT and I never really got along. But, you know, like she was kind of just dissuading that the rumors of like her fighting her was like real. She was saying that it wasn't really a thing. And a lot of girls were questioning her on that because in Yeah Glow, which was which is like one of her lead singles, it's one of the singles that's been really hitting it on the charts and has really been becoming like a huge hit for her. I think that and the single that she released alongside the release of this album, Wannabe featuring Megan Thee Stallion, have been becoming hits. Like, the girls are giving it to this thing because they both like great songs. Like, it's really been eaten. She like referenced in Yeah Glow, she's like, oh, like slap a B and cover bail. Like, that's kind of the lyric. It's not the full lyric because obviously I can't say the full stuff on YouTube and on these services. If y'all want me to do a Patreon or something, let me know. But the girls were pointing at that lyric in one of the previous songs and was like, are you just kind of using this drama for like clicks or like for like engagement? Because you said this in one of the other tracks. Like, people were questioning her about it. And then basically, like, I believe like the Shade Room where somebody was posting about the lyric, or like the lyric from I started going around, and someone was like in the comments saying like, oh, like didn't Glorilla like slap or like drag JT, and JT sees everything. She like the all seeing eye, and she was in the comments like, oh, like that never happened, like y'all like, and y'all like that never happened. Like, she really was starting to like get on it, and then she hopped on Twitter as she usually does and started talking about Glorilla, like she was replying to comments, and she low-key was being transphobic because of the fact that she was pretty close to comparing Glorilla to a man. which is like unacceptable. Like, girl, like that is a dark skinned woman. Like she, like the misogynoir was crazy, and it was very clear that that was very close to jumping out. Like she really wanted to go there, and Glorilla was popping up in the in the replies, like was replying and quote retweeting, being like kind of trying to be nonchalant about it. She's like, girl, like don't do too much. Like it was a mess, and Glorilla did delete some of the tweets, and which was okay smart because again, like she is on the up and up. Like the girls are really starting to like tune into Glorilla, and she has like all eyes are on her right now because she got the hit single, she got the album. The album's doing well. Some of the songs are charting really well on the album. Like it is like she's about to get her things. Like this is her moment. So she really can't afford to be in petty beef for no reason when she's like on the up and up like that, because any little drama or situation can turn people away. And this is something that JT has not realized, or if she has realized, I don't think she cares. And the thing is that JT, like, for one, let me talk about the discourse. Like, for starters, I don't think they actually fought, because I feel like if they fought, like there would be some actual footage, or there would be some sort, like someone else who was around them might have probably would have come forward and been like, oh, like they probably would have hinted at it, or they would have said something happened. And JT did kind of hint that like, oh, like allegedly Glorilla like hit her with a like her purse or something, but one, I don't believe it happened because one, like no one has footage of it, and two, even if people did have footage of it, I don't think either of the parties involved would have allowed a fight to go down. Like I feel like they would have, if they would have fought, they would have brawled, and again, like we would have had footage of it. And it's like one, JT like if Glorilla did hit JT with a purse, like JT wouldn't have let that like go down nothing. Like if that actually went down, why didn't JT do anything about it? And it's very clear that she hasn't confirmed if like she did anything about it. But we know how JT is, and she wouldn't let a fight, like she wouldn't let something go down without a fight. So I don't know why she would just let her get hit by a purse if she and just let it be. But that's why I'm thinking it didn't actually happen. And Glorilla, obviously, like she is like she gets down, like she don't play. Like we seen the videos and like the photos of her holding weaponry as a kid, so like we know that she really gets down like that. Like she don't play, like she really brawl. And they were also trying to like go back and forth with each other, like, oh, like one of them, like JT posted a mugshot of Glorilla or whatever, and Glorilla was like, oh, like, but I didn't go to jail for stealing. Like I didn't go to jail for stealing. Like that's the thing. Like it seems like they was trying to go back and forth about it and be petty about it. But the thing was, Glorilla wasn't really trying to give too much energy, and was also like she was doing her best to try to like stop the energy as soon as it came forward. Whereas JT was like really very clearly agitated about it and was trying to like not let up. Because she goes to the Nicki Minaj school of beefs on Twitter. Like it's really bad. And it's very, and then not too long after this drama like kind of stops, because again, like you can only be beefing with each other for so long before one of them turns the phone off and gets back to their D, and the other one just stops because they realize that it's not really going to do too much anymore. After this beef happens and after people start talking about it, not too long after that, Carisha, Young Miami, is on Twitter, and the girls have been really getting at her because of her, connections to Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Dr. Love, allegedly. I don't know why they keep calling him Dr. Love. Well, he been loving on people, but not in the ways that has been safe. I know that's right, for sure. But the girls have been, like, talking about her and, like, been, like they've been dragging her because of the fact that she has had connections to Diddy and stuff has been popping up in the evidence and stuff like that. And she was coming up And one, I think she was defending Santana during the situation, like during some sort of situation, but she was also coming up. She was like, "Y'all, like the evidence and stuff, like y'all keep trying to twist my words and stuff like that, and it's not cool." And she was popping up on Twitter, like kind of trying to squash things or whatever. And she was also low key trying to like act confused. Because one thing about Carisha is like she's gonna pop up on Twitter and be like confused. She's like, "Y'all, I just woke up. Like, what happened?" Like she be kind of be silly about it. She's like, "Y'all, like I just woke up. Like, what happened?" And JT replied and was like, "Oh, like don't act stupid. Like don't act dumb. Because you know, like you've seen this and you know what they're asking you. Like." And they go back and forth. And Carisha is like, "Oh, like you've been trying to like you've been sending shots my way and trying to like critique me for a minute in your songs." And JT was like, "Oh, like what songs am I dragging you on?" And Carisha says, "No Bars and Sideways." No Bars and Sideways are the two solo songs that JT has put out to this point in this new era of her solo era. And some of the girls seem very mixed on if she actually was sending shots at Carisha or not. And here's my thoughts. No Bars, I don't think was sending shots at Carisha at all, because one, I feel like if Carisha really felt some type of way about the album, about that, it wouldn't have been on their last album, because they put it on the last album. If you would have like paid attention to it, so there's that. But and the other thing is like a lot of people, both when the song came out and once she said like oh, this was about me, a lot of people thought that the song was a diss at Cardi, because doing all that wifey shit, knowing he don't fuck with you, is definitely something that like a lot of the girls thought was very connected to Cardi, especially because the drama and back and forth that Cardi has had with Offset. So, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, like maybe because maybe if the shoe fits, like maybe it also fit Carisha." And a lot of people were thinking about that, but I don't think JT had any animosity at that point with Carisha to really like go that far. Like I feel like her allegiance was with Nicki Minaj, and she was feeling some type of way about Cardi and wanted to send shots Cardi's way. Like I think that's what it was. Now when it comes to Sideways, I can kind of see the connections to like why this could be about Carisha. Like there could be some disses at Carisha. Like I definitely can see it there, but like again, it's also kind of like it's not super pointed in which it's like, oh, this is definitely Carisha. Like when it comes to like the other disses and stuff that JT has done and what our other artists have done, like usually they're pointed enough in which it's like, oh, like you know who this is talking about type thing. And it like if I feel like if it had to be one of the two songs that was dissing Carisha, it would have to be Sideways. But because No Bars doesn't really make that much sense for it to be this, especially since it ended up on the album Raw. So there's that. JT responded and was like, "No, like these songs not about you. I don't know where you got that from." And they going back and forth about it, and it's made apparent that like it's been made apparent by the people who are seeing these tweets pop up and them going back and forth that one, they should have took this to the phone. Like they should have went on FaceTime and talked about this. Like they love putting stuff on Twitter and really like trying to lay things out as like a gotcha moment. But like this really impacted both of their brands, both together as the City Girls and both individually as JT and Carisha. Like this really did a dent on them, because the girls were already thinking that like City Girls was like not doing good because the last album flopped, and I'll get into why that was in a minute. But the album flopped, and in the interviews and press tour, in the very small press tour that they have promoting the album, JT was doing a lot of talking, and Carisha was just kind of there, and Carisha would talk about the reality show that she was doing, and Carisha Please and stuff like that, and the stuff that she was doing with like Saucy Santana, and they would ask JT like, "Oh, like, are you gonna be on this? Like, since you a City Girl, like, you gonna be on this?" And JT was like, "No, I'm not gonna be on it. Like, that's her thing," or I don't know. And Carisha would be like, "Yeah, I don't think so." Like, it really was very odd, because again, like if you look at earlier interviews, like they really wasn't like that. Like they were like, "Oh, like we're gonna be doing shit together. Like we're gonna be having the fun, like having all the things." So the girls were already looking at the interviews and stuff and thinking like, oh, like they really have not been cool for a minute, and the tweets just kind of confirmed it. And it's really unfortunate that they was going back and forth like this, and they had that falling, and they like it's very clear that they had a falling out. But and I also don't think it's their fault for real. Like I think there was just so many things going on that led them to this point that was really unfortunate and led to this breakup. Like let's talk it. Let's get into it. Let's really delve deep. Let's do a deep dive with CakeDive, right? So for starters, the reason why they like I think the biggest reason and the reason why the album flopped as well is because quality control is low key like not real anymore. Like quality control as a label just isn't a thing anymore because of the fact that nobody's doing well with quality control right now. Like there's so many artists that have fallen off the face of the earth with quality control, and then you have the people who like really hit it off with quality control with QC. You have the City Girls and like Lil Baby. Lil Baby been like stuck with the same sound and like been torn since like 2018. Like the music has been so like consistent that people are like tired of it, and like no new people are coming in because there's no growth that was coming with Lil Baby. Like he's been very consistent. The sound has been sounding very much the same. Like it hasn't been giving what it's supposed to give, and he's been touring for like a long time. So the girls are just like, okay, what's going on with like Lil Baby? Like he's just kind of there. And then with the City Girls should be at a bigger like place than they are right now. Like they should have been like having tours. They should have been headlining tours, or at least like popping up and doing tour appearances. They should have been like. I'm surprised they haven't done like a SNL hosting gig or anything like that. Like they haven't been hosting no shows or performances for real. The only time like they had a performance like recently was when they were promoting the Raw album, and it was JT doing No Bars, and then it was them doing Act Up together at the BET Awards, which is like, because like the BET Awards, it's a performance show, but like BET doesn't really care about black artists like that, so it's kind of like, and it's kind of like once you with BET with the BET Awards, it's given like once you hit it off, like once you're a successful artist, like you go to the BET Awards to like pay homage and give flowers, because I guess it's like black culture. It's like one of the places where like black culture is supposed to be like here, like they like BET pretends that they care about black culture enough to really monetize it. So it's like, oh, like yes, we're here. So they come in, give their themes, and then once they hit it off as artists and become super successful, then it is like they don't really pop up. And if they do, it's like, oh, like maybe a video or maybe they get an award and that's it. Like they don't really do as many performances as they do now. Like the floor for the BET Awards is usually for new artists. So the fact that they was back and doing a BET Awards performance and the performance wasn't giving was very like, So like they not really doing performances. They wasn't doing a tour. The album rollout flopped because I feel like the rollout of the singles was very like confusing. Like they did not like the girls they weren't giving enough time to the singles, and there wasn't enough promotion to the singles, because there was like Need a Thug that came out, like that made no noise because they didn't promote it. Like there was no promotion for it. Act Up had a little bit of promotion. Like that was supposed to, I feel like that was like the label messed up with that, because that seemingly was supposed to be like their lead single. And I feel like they waited too long between like when they teased it to when they released it for it to really be a success. Like they dropped this like a video promoting like, oh, like the City Girls are back, like we got new stuff on the way, and the girls was gagging. They're like, oh yes, like this track is eating, like let's like it's giving the things, and they didn't get it for a minute. And Fancy like was a good like was it Fancy? It was the one track with Kim Petras, like that was a cute little track. And they had that as like one of the like the last singles to promote the album, and like it made no noise because like they really like the girls wasn't really tapping in. And there was also the discourse of like, oh, like these songs sound like, and like the album really didn't have much like when it came to the release, like when it was time to be like, oh, like the album's coming, like like no one knew that the album was coming until like they did an interview at like the BET Awards after the performance or something, or like they were at an award show, and someone asked like, "Oh, like is an album coming?" And JT was like, JT or like Carisha were like, "Oh yes, the album's actually coming next week or in 2 weeks." Like what? That is not how you do a rollout, honey. Like, what is going on? Like, you, what? So there was that issue that happened. And the album flopped. And the girls were like, oh, the City Girls are flopped. Like, it's over and da-da-da-da-da. And I think that led to, like, the big point of them, like, breaking their, like, friendship or whatever. Because it's like, oh, like, JT really was doing the City Girls because she wanted to be in the rap game, but she didn't want to be in the rap game alone. Like, she needed someone who was, like, also there to, like, rock with her. Carisha really did not want to rap, but, like, JT was her friend, and she was going to do anything for her. And Carisha helped, make the City Girls like what the City Girls was while JT was in jail, because she was out performing, she was out doing the press tours, and she was doing like promotion for the songs and stuff like that while JT was in jail. Then JT came out of jail and COVID hit. So like there was so many different issues and stuff that came through that they had to like work through. And I feel like even like a lot of girls were like, oh, like the girls really haven't been tapping into the City Girls. I feel like because of the fact that it was the promotion that just was not there, they didn't have anybody promoting their songs, was the fact that like they're like viewed as flops now. Because like even with the Usher track that they had, like the Usher track I think was a hit. Like a lot of girls say that it was a flop because it didn't make no noise, but I think like it was very much an Atlanta hit. Like the girls was like really kind of like it was tapping in. I knew it was around like I felt like it was a track that was around for a minute because the girls were liking the song. Like, definitely thought it was fun. I liked the beat. But I feel like it would have gone higher, especially because of the fact that Usher is like an established act. I feel like it would have gone higher if, there was some actual promotion to it. Like, QC, again, is like a fraudulent label, no shade, because they they don't exist. Like, they're not promoting their artists. They're not doing A&R to like help improve the voice of these artists and how the sound and stuff looks. Like they're not having them out here doing tours and performances and stuff like that for real. So it's like they're out to their own devices, and that's a bad thing because you can very much tell with the City Girls and with Saucy Santana, who is not signed to QC, but it's very similar to City Girls and like how they act and stuff, and they're very you can't have like it's a lot of people say you can't have the City Girls with like without not Carisha, without Saucy Santana. And like Saucy Santana's like the third City Girl, but like though both like those two groups are like three people who definitely need A&R. Like they need a team to be like, okay, like this is what the single should be, this is what the sound should be, here's how you should roll it out. Because with Saucy Santana, quick sidebar, Saucy Santana could be at was possibly at like he had the golden opportunity to really like start making waves. Like even though he is a thick, black, dark skinned like femme dude, he would have started like I think the girls were like kind of willing to give him a chance once Booty dropped. Like Booty was a hit, but I feel like the girls weren't really willing to give him a chance after that, because you had to think like he was getting the drama, he wasn't handling drama well. Like he was handling it just like a City Girl would, in which it was like, oh, like the thing with Blue Ivy, in which like the tweets came up of him, making fun of Blue Ivy's hair, and the girls were like, why would you make fun of a kid like this? And Saucy Santana was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna apologize to y'all. I'm gonna apologize to Beyonce directly. Anyways, so there's stuff like that, and even like some of the smart stuff. Like he was on like the TikTok streams with Psychonic or whoever, like the Terry Joe dude, or like the Terry Joe person, and like they were doing streams, and the streams were hits. Like the girls were really tapping into the streams because it's like, oh, like Saucy Santana bouncing off of this really well. And then they had like drama because they was making fun of one of the girls on there, and the girl like felt really bad, and like the girls were like, why were y'all acting like this to this lady who was being real sweet on here? And everybody from Terry Joe, like the person who plays Terry Joe, to like one of the other girls who was on it, and Saucy Santana, all like fumbled and handled it very poorly, in my opinion. I think that definitely held all of them back. But like again, it just comes to show that there's been situations in which like they don't know how to mitigate drama well, and if not, like they'll add more stuff to the drama because they don't have like a team to be like, this is what you should say, or like, don't do this. And even then, like with Saucy Santana, like I feel like with Booty, once Booty came out and that was a hit, like he should have had like a rollout. Like he should have had another album by now. but they not wanting to give him another album, and allegedly he was dropped by his label, and he not trying to say anything, and Carisha not trying to say anything about the Diddy stuff because they doing the reality show together and they doing reshoots, but they doing that, but JT's not on the reality show. Like they really on their separate paths, and it's really unfortunate. But I feel like again, QC had such a big impact on it that they were like, okay, we need to figure out where we can get it at solely as solo artists or like on our own. And they both kind of picked their beds to lie in, and they can't get out because with Carisha, she picked Diddy, and like I feel like she wasn't aware of like everything that Diddy was gonna get her into, but I think she was like a good unfortunate victim to like fall into that stuff because she needed the money, she wanted the support. Diddy was giving her the platform to do that. Like she was able to get to the Met Gala, which was very odd because she at this point, like the City Girls both should have been at the Met Gala at this point, but she was able to make her Met Gala appearance with Diddy. She got the talk show Carisha Please with Diddy. She had the reality show that's doing reshoots with Diddy, and they doing reshoots because they can't have Diddy on there. So it's like really unfortunate that like she it's really unfortunate that like she's in this predicament, but she also knew that she had to get where the getting was good, and Diddy enticed her and pretty much groomed her to fall into this like troubling situation. So I have some empathy for her, but also it's like because she also kind of knew what she was doing. It's a mixed bag. Like both things are right at the same time. And then you have JT, who like her love has always been in music. She always been trying to put solo songs out, and like she's been trying to do all the things. But one, I think she was trying to pick the Nicki Minaj bed. She was trying to lay in the Barb's bed, and this is not this is not, before the Barbs try to come to get at me. Like this is not a dig at Nicki Minaj in any way, but this is a dig at y'all, the Barbs, the stands, because the thing about the Barbs is like y'all don't be pushing like other female artists like that for real, especially if they collaborate with Nicki. Like you have like it feels like JT was trying to like work with the bar like with Nicki Minaj and be like, oh like yes, and Nicki Minaj kind of like played into that a little bit like she usually does. But I'm not gonna get into that too much because I'm not trying to get back by the Barbs, because again I said I'm not trying to drag Nicki right now, I'm trying to drag the Barbs because the Barbs have a separate issue. Even when Nicki collaborates with a female artist and it's like, oh like the song is good, the song is a eat, like y'all tune in, tap in, subscribe, like not subscribe, buy the song, stream the song. For some reason the Barbs kind of refuse and are very hesitant on doing that because for a variety of reasons, but it seems like they kind of are hoping for the very perfect, like the most perfect collab that you could ever get before they like go and buy and stream the song. Like I remember when JT was like hoping for some of the like a bar bump, like they was hoping like the Barbs would like help bump some of the streams up for some of the songs. Like I remember when No Bars came out and like JT like visited Nicki for the first time and they had like their first like in-person interaction, and Nicki like cut a version of No Bars, like a verse for No Bars for fun, and she put it in one of her videos. And I remember the Barbs were like, oh like is this gonna be like is JT collaborating with Nicki, because this verse sound fun, like this verse sound fun, we need this. And JT and Nicki came forward and were like, oh like this was just the thing that Nicki cut for fun, like this is not gonna be in the song, but y'all should listen to like No Bars. And the Barbs were like, no. Like they really was just like, no, like we're not doing that. And even like some of them were trying to push it, but like a good majority of them were like, oh like we're not pushing it, like we need the Nicki remix. Like for some reason, and even then like when it comes to Nicki remix, even then like it really doesn't help. Like the girls really don't be pushing it unless it's like the biggest, like unless there's like another female artist that they have to like race and compete against, then it's like okay let's push it. Or it's like it gotta be the best remix in the world. Because even then, like I remember the Princess Diana remix and stuff came out. Like the Barbs were very hesitant on pushing the like song because it was Ice Spice, and Ice Spice for the longest time had been like saying that she was a Nicki fan and she would love to collaborate with Nicki. And she was like, but they were like, oh like here's this photo of her with like Cardi B, and like she allegedly was working with Cardi B, like there's gonna be a verse on Much from the Cardi, like they was feeling some type of way. So like again it's like there's so many factors that has to be like had to be in for JT to get some sort of support from the Barbs, from that stan base. That was just not gonna happen. One, because of the fact that like Nicki wasn't really given, like, the only thing that like Nicki and JT like explicitly have collaborated on to this point was like the Super Freaky Girl like remix, and that wasn't even like a direct like collab. It was just like Nicki and like a bunch of different girls on it. So it wasn't as intimate as like a JT and Nicki collab could be. So there's that. And then there's also the fact that, you know, the City Girls both collaborate with Cardi, even though they turned their backs on Cardi because they wanted, like, JT wanted to work with Nicki. So it's like they lay it in their bed, and the bed not comfortable. So it's like they can't really do anything about it. So those are really my thoughts on that. Jatavia, put the phone down, please, because you really don't need to respond to everybody. You really don't need to be fired with everybody, because the girls want to support you. Like, even though you have to like fight your way to the top, like you do your performances in like bars and Applebee's, like, no shade, like, the girls still want to rock with you, but you have to like put the phone down and do some more PR, so like the girls can like actually be like, oh, like, be like, turn around and like give you your things, because the girls can give you your things, especially with like what we've seen with the world of like no bars and like the pretty, like a transgender verse, like the girls were giving her flowers, but like you have to be on your P's and Q's, especially after you was about to call Glorilla a man. Like, it's like you gotta be consistent, you gotta be nice, and you gotta be consistent, and she's not really doing that right now. So it's like, we room for you, but you need to kind of put some more work in, sister. Like, you don't have no A&R, you don't have no team, so like you have to be the A&R and you have to be the team. As sad as that is, like, you kind of have to go into overdrive and really work it if you really want to get to where she wants to be. I know she wants to get to like the top, because she's hungry for it. I can tell, for like with how she's been pushing the songs and how she's been on the song. Like, cause her pen game is iconic, honey. But like, she needs to be like, she needs to get a team, or she needs to like put into work to really be a team, and like make sure that she has the support and backing from everybody, because the girls do see when she's online dragging people, when she's in the comments like trying to like be mean and like drag people or try to clarify things, and she really doesn't need to do that. Like, she needs to start paying people dust, and that is the truth. So that's my thoughts on that. This has been the Cake Radio Show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below or in the Q&A function on the podcast. Be sure to listen to this on either the YouTube channel at Cake Radio Show, or subscribe and follow this on your favorite podcast streaming platforms, and give it a good rating if you love this episode and want more. That has been CakeDive, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.